So I wanted to do something a little bit different from my other videos. So this is gonna be like heavily unedited, very raw, no music, no captions even. Uh, is so very raw. And I trust that it'll reach the right people. It'll reach the right audience. That people that don't need stimulation and gameplay next to someone talking to stay interested. Probably not going to do anything for the thumbnail either. But if you obviously clicked on the video, you know that I'm going to be talking about being able to master, anxious thoughts. Mastering your mind and overcoming those kind of overwhelming thoughts where you don't really know. Um, I guess for lack of a better term or phrase, like you kind of just feel overwhelmed, right? Like you don't really know the situation that you're in. It's kind of getting getting a hold of you a little bit. Because I've been there, and I feel like this super raw kind of talk right now would kind of help me because like recently I've been a little like you know iffy the past couple of days when it comes to just like I'm a very compelled person and I'm very composed. But recently I've been kind of like on edge. So I think it'd be beneficial for me too. But uh, if you're watching this, I would assume you've struggled at some point or are currently struggling with kind of like maybe some sort of anxiety or some sort of overwhelming thoughts, right? Or some situation maybe in your life that you're going through right now that you don't, you're not in the best spot mentally, physically, whatever, financially, and that could be affecting you, right? And for me, the biggest way that I was able to overcome these times, or this time in specific, when I was really just like held captive by certain thoughts, um, was by asking myself. It was really random. I asked myself because I was just dealing with crazy thoughts. I was going through, not crazy thoughts like not crazy thoughts like harmful thoughts, but harmful in a way of like crashing out, like nothing crazy like that. I'm saying crazy like just stuff that I shouldn't be thinking about, like stuff that was just getting me very uneasy, right? Um, and it was during my I was going through a breakup, and I was just I was just having thoughts all the time of like you know I was worried, right? Like I was worried, like what is that person doing, or you know like just kind of like natural thoughts, right? That if you're a young dude like going through a breakup, like of course you're most likely going to be not in 100% mental sane condition, right? And if you're experiencing that right now or have experienced that, you know what I'm talking about. um but yeah, just like having a lot of anxious thoughts, like this was a fresh experience for me. This was something I had never experienced. So I was thinking like, you know, okay, like what is this girl doing? Like, like is she making dumb decisions, or you know, like obviously I was hoping for the best in that case. Um, but it's like, normal things like, is she making dumb decisions, or maybe was she over me already? Was she starting to, uh, maybe talk to other people or whatever? And this is very vulnerable for me too. Um, because on camera, this is kind of weird because I've never really talked about this on camera, at least, in this in depth. But I was dealing with a lot of that stuff, and I just randomly asked myself. It got so bad to the point where all I could think about was what I was going through and this person.
And one time I just asked myself, like, dude, like I told myself, like, this is getting way too much, right? Like, like, these thoughts are just, they're not doing anything for me. And that right there was where everything switched. And I stopped looking at my situation for, what I was experiencing, right? And I started looking at it uh, through the paradigm of how I was perceiving it, right? So I wasn't looking at it, maybe I said that wrong. I wasn't looking at it in the sense of what was going on. I was more trying to look at it as like from the lens of how I can perceive it better, right? If that makes sense. So I went from, having these really bad, overwhelming thoughts that I couldn't control, and then I asked myself, and this is where it changed. Um, I asked myself, are these thoughts doing anything for you? And then right there, when I genuinely ask myself, like when I legit ask myself for a legitimate answer, not just to ask myself that, like I legit ask myself, are these thoughts doing anything for you? And the obvious answer was no, right? They're not doing anything productive for me. I was just, I was nervous, I was worried, I was anxious, I was, like I was not in a good spot. And that's where it switched because I genuinely asked myself, are these thoughts that you're having and that you're experiencing, are they doing anything for you? And the obvious answer was no. And so I took that and I was like, yeah, no, they're not doing anything for me. They're except making my life worse right now, I guess you could say. And then from there, with the true, now that I had a true answer, and it was, yeah, no, bro, these thoughts, they're not doing anything for me. Then that's when I told myself, okay, then stop thinking about them, right? And it was very weird because it kind of like that conversation in my own head kind of happened so quickly. And then not only did it happen so quickly, but it worked so quickly, which was kind of interesting because not to say I have no mental, no control, self control when it comes to my mind frame, but I didn't know I had that much in that moment because, mind you, I was fresh off of a breakup and I was, uh, having these thoughts like, like I explained a couple minutes ago, um, like naturally, right? Naturally. And a just overwhelming anxiety of like, which I've never really dealt with before in my life. Because I've always been a very like strong, like a mentally strong person. So when this happened, this was something new for me. Like I said, something I never experienced before. And yeah, so like I was just getting consumed by negative thoughts, being overwhelmed, right? And I didn't even know I had it in me to just snap out of it like that. So the whole point with this, I guess, is just if you are, the reason you clicked on the video, um, if you're someone who's either going through that exact same thing, a breakup, or you can transfer this mental model, this mental frame into into anything really. If you're someone who's dealing with some sort of anxiety over school, over a certain job, over relationship, over certain friends, if you are someone who's uncertain of what your purpose is in this life, if you are someone who is uncertain of whether you're going to make it, I guess you could say, or not, right? Then learn how to ask yourself if these thoughts are productive for you. And most times, if you even have to ask yourself that, chances are they're not going to be productive. So ask yourself, is this thought doing anything for me right now? Is this thought productive? 99% of the time that answer is going to be no. And from there, you have to have the mental fortitude and the strength to eliminate it from your mind. And you'll be surprised how easy it can go out of your mind and just vanish in an instant when you ask yourself that question, but genuinely ask yourself and genuinely mean it. Because you should be the person, you should be the one person in this world that wants the best for you, right? Your parents shouldn't want better for you than you, right? Or your friends or your boyfriend, your girlfriend. Other than God, you are the only person in this earth on this earth that should want the best for you as much as you can, right? Does that make sense? Who that has the capacity to want the best for you as much as you. You are the only person that can do that. So, and you're the only person that should, right? So, with that being said, you should want the best enough for you to say, "Man, this anxiety, bro, this it sucks," right? Or these thoughts, like, bro, they suck. Like, I can't get them out of my head. But that's the thing, you can. And I discovered that like in an instant, and it was kind of interesting to me, kind of shocking to me, genuinely, how quickly I was able to get over these thoughts. And I'm not saying to be ignorant and avoid feelings, right? Because you still have to feel certain things. But I am saying that if you are mentally deteriorating and you are exposing yourself to unnecessary anxiety, unnecessary, pain, right? Then why wouldn't you stop it as soon as you can? So you can like seriously learn, man. And it did that, like that question in itself did so much for me. Is this productive? Is this thought productive? No. And now you can use that for like, I can use that for literally anything, whether it be in relationships. If you are someone with that overthinks a lot, right? About anything, literally anything. This is how to kill that overthinking. This is how to kill that worry. This is how to kill that anxiety. This is how to instantly protect yourself mentally and spiritually, really, from just all types of, negativity, all types of anxiety, all types of, all that stuff. So I, I hope I'll leave it at that. I hope this is very different from my, other videos. So if you are someone that's new to the channel, I appreciate you watching, especially if you got this far. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe. I'm not going to ask you to like. It's not 2016. I'm not going to ask you that. Just if you enjoyed just watching me talk with no music, no captions, no edits, no nothing, I'd appreciate if you let me know in the comments. But other than that, God bless, and I hope this video helped.